What's going on, everybody? It's Nick Gashler, and today we're back with the 2021 Edge rankings. So as we get right into draft week, this is the last week before we get to Thursday night with the draft. I'm planning on dropping my Edge rankings, my wide receiver rankings, and my mock draft 5.0, and we get in the draft and we get out, and we'll see what happens from there. But this Edge class is really interesting because there's no clear number one guy, but there's a lot of really good number, like just mid round and higher, after about pick the top 10 pretty much, except for my number one guy who you'll see in a little bit. But you got a good amount of guys in this class, and you got a really deep class. Keep in mind, I didn't watch Peyton Turner. I know a lot of people have been liking Peyton Turner lately, but he's not going to be in these rankings just because I haven't watched him and I don't feel confident in ranking him. But anywho, let's get into these, and we're going to start with number 12, which is Greg Rousseau, and we're going to move on to Ronnie Perkins. But in all seriousness, a lot of people like Greg Rousseau. He's your size guy. He's your long, strong guy, but he doesn't pass rush with a plan, and that is why he's my lowest rated edge rusher in this class. He just does not have what you want in an edge rusher, and it's kind of crazy that some people ranked him number one. People fall in love with the 14.5 sack season, and to be honest with you, the people that rank him number one are stat scouts. They just look at stats and they think, well, he had 14.5 sacks in 2019. He's going to be the number one pass rusher in the class. But when you watch these 14.5 sacks that he had in 2019, Gregory Rousseau lucks into them against terrible ACC linemen, like in Florida State. Go watch the Florida State tape. He doesn't do well in that game, but since the offensive line is worse than he is, he's going to find a way to get to the quarterback. You're not going to have that on the NFL level unless he's improved drastically through the last year that he hasn't been playing football. Moving on to number 11 guy is Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma. I liked Ronnie Perkins. He's very technical in the way he pass rushes. He's a very athletic pass rusher. But for me, he doesn't do much against the run, and he isn't a great bender. He's also a little undersized. He's only 6'3" and 247, which kind of pulls him down for me. But he's still better than Gregory Rousseau because he has that technique and he's able to pass rush with the plan. I like him a lot, but honestly, I feel like he could be a solid third-round option, maybe a second-round option, and we'll figure that out once we get there. But moving on to our number 10 guys, Duke's Victor, and if I don't pronounce this right, excuse me, but Victor Dimukeje, or Dimukeje, from Duke. He's kind of he's more of a stand-up guy. He's pretty fast, very athletic, solid pass rusher. I was actually rather surprised by what I saw on film with him. He's a type of guy that's has a third-round grade for me. He's a burst guy. He's explosive. I like him a lot. I just don't like him as much as these other 9 guys that I have above him. So we move on to number 9, which is Quincy Roche from Miami, and in comparison to Gregory Rousseau, Quincy Roche is a great stand-up edge rusher. He has a lot of energy to him. He has a lot of motor to him. He knows how to beat blocks with his hands. He whooped, I think it was NC State. He had a really good game against NC State. Got into the quarterback's lap a lot. I think he kind of did the same against Clemson, or Jackson Carman completely just shut him down. But either way, Quincy Roche, and what he showed against the Senior Bowl was also very good. He showed his ability to use his hands and make consistent plays in the pass game, which is why he's kind of been elevated past these other 3 guys for me. Quincy Roche, after that Senior Bowl, really raised his stock because of his athleticism, because of his ability against the pass. I think he's going to be pretty successful on the next level. Then we move on to our number 8 guy, Boogie Basham, Carlos Basham. And when you look at him on tape, I wasn't all the way impressed with how he rushes the passer, but he does so well on a consistent level, or he does so consistently on a good level. But I think he'd be better suited inside as a 3-tech. He's a big dude. He's about 285 pounds, and once you get into the NFL, he's probably going to add another 10 to 20 pounds. So you're looking at a 300-pound dude who I think could be an insane 3-tech because he still has that quickness to him. He has the athleticism to him to be able to beat blocks like that. But his ability as a pass rusher would be much better suited as a 3-tech in my opinion, but he also has that versatility to play outside if needed. He doesn't bend really well, but his athleticism and pass rush ability should keep him stable for the most part on the NFL level, but I could see why he could end up going in the first round because this guy's crazy. And moving on to our number 7 guy, Jason Oweh. A lot of people like Jayson Oweh as a first-round guy. I don't. When I'm looking at pass rushers, or when I'm looking at edge rushers, rather, I look at pass rush and I look at run defense. And Jayson Oweh is a great run defender. He's a great traits guy. He's quick. He's athletic. But he's also incredibly undersized. And he doesn't have any technique as a pass rusher at all. And that is honestly ultimately a deal breaker. And if it weren't for his high athleticism and grades, he'd probably be all the way down here next to Gregory Rousseau, because he is so unrefined and so unpolished that I don't even like to consider him as a great edge rusher that could go in the second round. I'd rather see him in like the third round cut, because he's a good run defender. He's just not the pass rusher that you'd want him to be, and that is why ultimately he falls here. I just wish I could see a little bit more as a development as a pass rusher. I don't think he had a sack this year. And he can make some noise against the run and whatnot, but ultimately the lack of being able to pass rush pulls him down for me. Moving on to our number 6 guy is Joe Tryon. And from Washington, he's kind of an off-ball linebacker. He's super athletic. But at the same time, I have him ranked ahead of Jayson Oweh because he's starting to develop his ability as a pass rusher. You see it on tape in 2020, or he might not have played in 2020, but 2019 for sure. You kind of see him start to develop these skills as an edge rusher and get better as an edge rusher, and that is why I ultimately have him ranked ahead of Jayson Oweh. I think he has a lot of potential as a 3-4 outside linebacker, and I really like him in that spot. I think he needs to get a little bit better in terms of being able to do that more consistently, and then also I think make the plays against the run. But as a whole, I like him. He's developing a lot as a pass rusher, and I think he could be a very good player moving forward. Moving on to our number 5 guy, Patrick Jones from Pitt. I think he's a guy who can fit either as a 3-4 outside linebacker or a 4-3 hand in the dirt guy. He's athletic. He's got great burst off the football. The thing for him is he just does not have the technique that other guys do ahead of him, which is why he's lower here. He has good production. He can find ways to the football. He's athletic and he has that burst, but ultimately his technique is going to have to improve before he goes anywhere. And this is kind of where the lower edge tier guys end. So we have like Jones, Tryon, and Oweh, and then we have these good rich guys right here that I like a lot, and then these kind of guys who are lackluster but still second round graded players. But the rest of these guys, these top 4 guys, are really in the first round conversation for me as guys that I really like, and that starts with Joseph Ossai. Now, Joseph Ossai isn't the greatest player in the world. He's not going to give you everything you want from a pass rushing perspective. But from a motor defense standpoint, and an athleticism standpoint, and a run defense standpoint, Joseph Ossai is insane. I've seen Joseph Ossai play on the weak side and chase plays down from across the field. I've seen Joseph Ossai being able to read blocks a little bit better. He kind of struggles with that at times, but I've seen him be able to stay patient and then find the running back and make the stop. I've even seen him be able to rush the passer well and get off blocks and make plays like this. Joseph Ossai ultimately is one of my favorite, or my more preferable guys in this class. I like him a lot, but I just don't like him a lot as the other 3, and that's become more apparent as I watch more film on him. I think he fits as a 3-4 outside linebacker. I think he's fairly raw as an edge rusher. He played outside linebacker in 2019 for Texas, I believe, but they've kind of figured out he could pass rush and put him on the line this year. I think as he continues to develop, he could be great. He's a great second-round option, but honestly, I feel like he could be also a first-round player, depending on how teams feel about him. Moving on to our number 3 guy, and this is where it really gets good. There's a clear gap between our top 3 guys and Joseph Ossai, and that starts with Azeez Ojulari again. Azeez Ojulari is a crazy pass rusher. He has one signature move where he kind of long arms the tackle and then defeats the outside hand with his other hand that he's using. Puts tackles on skates, and he's able to do a great job of being able to go up and bend upfield and get to the quarterback. He does that on a very consistent level. He has good motor, he has good athleticism. That Cincinnati game was wild. He was able to make so many plays against the Cincinnati game, and really kind of made the difference in that game late there. He could be a little bit better against the run, which is why he's not as high as the other guys. But from a pass rushing perspective, I really like Azeez Ojulari. I think he could potentially go higher than our number 2 guy, who is Kwity Paye. But just based on that pass rushing perspective, which moves us into Kwity Paye. Paye is the robot against the run, right? He's crazy. He's able to get off the ball really smoothly, read the play, and find the run and stop it. He's athletic. He has not so much as like crazy athleticism in the way that Jason Owe has crazy athleticism, or like a Joseph Osai has crazy athleticism, but he has like the lateral mobility type athleticism that is really valued against D linemen. His hips move well. He can get through gaps really quickly. He does a really good job of being able to just find the play and make the play. Do I wish he was better against the run? Of course I wish he was better against the pass, Of course. I feel like he has a lot of development there to do, but as a whole, I really like Kwity Paye's ability as a pass rusher. I think he can keep developing it. When he turns on, he really turns on, and if you go watch the Minnesota game, that's a really good example of that, of him being able to turn on and make a lot of plays there. But these 11 other guys, or I guess these 2 guys that are in the top 3, really don't compare to my number 1 guy, who's Jaelan Phillips. This guy's the number 7 player in the class. If you haven't seen my top 50, make sure to go to my Instagram at GDN_scouting, check that out. But he's my number 7 guy in the class, my number 1 edge rusher, and my number 1 overall defender on the board. People are worried about his injuries, and I get it. His injuries don't look great, but this man is the real number 15 in Miami. If his medicals check out, he should be a top 10 pick, honestly. I haven't seen a pass rusher in this class, at least, and probably, Chase Young did it last year, but I think, honestly, I'd argue that Jaelan Phillips is a little bit more technically refined than Chase Young. He kind of understands and rushes with the plan, and a much clearer plan, especially on tape when you watch it, much better than Chase Young. Chase Young was a really good guy being able to manipulate hands and get off ball like blocks like that, but Jaelan Phillips is much more of a moves guy. He knows how to use a rip move or a club move or a spin move or whatnot, and as well as manipulating hands. I'm not saying he's better than Chase Young. I don't think he's better than Chase Young. I'm just saying he seems a lot more refined as a pass rusher than anybody that I've seen recently. He makes a lot of those plays that you were just like, wow. His bend, there's a play against North Carolina this year that he just bends perfectly, and that really sold me on his ability to bend and be an athlete as well as his pro day. But Jaelan Phillips is crazy, and I think he has the ability to stand up like he is in this picture, or I think, honestly, he'd be a lot better with his hand in the dirt. As a 4-3 defensive end, and I think he deserves to go high. He's the number 1 edge rusher in this class. And he has all of it put together. He's a great run defender. People point to him not being as good of a run defender as possible, but he's a great run defender in my eyes, and he should be that guy. Again, he's the only one of the 3 defensive players that I've ranked inside my top 10 in this year's class, and he just has it all put together, and I think he's going to be really good on the next level if he can stay healthy. So with that being said, that is my edge rusher rankings, all 12 of these guys. Interesting class. I really like it, and I think there's a lot of guys in this class that could end up being studs on the next level. I think Ronnie Perkins is a big sleeper, but those 3 are really the big guys right there. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to keep following the content as we get in draft week. A mock draft 5.0 again will be out on Thursday, and the wide receiver ranking should be out either tomorrow or the next day. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and make sure to drop a like and stay tuned for more content. Peace out.